You want to know how you end up on national news for a war with your HOA? Well, let me tell you, it doesn't start with a bang. It starts with a little white envelope taped to your gate and ends with half your neighbors grilling burgers on your porch while the other half watch the drama play out on Channel 8. Yeah, that happened. I'm living proof. I wasn't born rich, no silver spoon, no family trust, no luxury beach house left in a will. I wrote code for other people long nights, cheap coffee, fingers bleeding until finally I could buy a slice of peace for myself. 4 years ago, after my wife Ellen passed, I packed up what was left of my life and bought a weathered old cottage in Florida. Sagging porch, creaky roof, a place with more ghosts than square footage. But it had a strip of private beach and not a single neighbor in sight. I called it Ellen's Watch and rebuilt it board by board with my own 2 hands. That house became my anchor, my therapy, my sanctuary. Here's the catch, Blue Dunes HOA didn't cover my place. That was the whole point. I checked the deed 3 times before signing. Their little kingdom ended right at my fence. So I minded my business and they minded theirs, or so I thought. Then one muggy Tuesday, I find an envelope, urgent 24-hour notice to vacate in red letters stuck right to my gate. No return address, no stamp, just that. For a second, I thought it was a prank. But inside, an official-looking notice from Blue Dunes HOA. According to their adjusted boundary evaluation, my house was now inside their kingdom and apparently in violation of 6 different codes. I had 24 hours to get out or face enforcement action. I about spit my coffee laughing enforcement action. So like any rational person, I tossed the whole mess in the trash and went about my day. Next morning, I'm sweeping sand off the porch. Yeah, that's a real thing when you live by the water. And I hear that sound, high heels, crunching gravel attitude in every step. I look up and there she is, Karen Westbrook herself, president of Blue Dunes HOA, flanked by her 2 bored lackeys. She looked like she'd bite through drywall just to prove a point. She didn't even try to fake a smile. "You must be Mr. Hartman," she says. "Depends who's asking." I shoot back. She launches right into it. My property, she claims, is now officially under their jurisdiction thanks to some parcel consolidation nobody but them had ever heard of. I'm in violation, unapproved paint color, unauthorized fence, illegal solar installations. Illegal solar lady. I've been off-grid for years. I don't answer to you or your little rule book. She tries to tell me they acquired annexation rights by vote. You were notified. I wasn't. She folds her arms, like that settles. It tells me I've got till morning to leave or she'll treat me as a trespasser. That's when I start recording on my phone. "You're on my property, Ms. Westbrook," I say. "Kindly remove yourself and your pets before I call the sheriff." She just mutters, "This won't end well for you," and struts off. I watched her car disappear, then backed up the recording to the cloud just in case. 2 days of silence. But not peaceful, the kind of silence that makes your skin itch, like you know someone's plotting. So I dig out every document I have, deed survey, county exemption, triple-checking what I already know. I'm not part of Blue Dunes HOA, never was. I make copies, laminate them, back them up 6 ways from Sunday. I'm not going down easy. Day 3, I get a visitor, Cody, from down the road. Mid-30s, beard, cybersecurity type. "Dude, you're not going to believe this," he says. "At last night's HOA meeting, Karen put up a whole slideshow about you. Pictures, diagrams, calling you the last holdout. Apparently I'm the villain of their little soap opera. Cody offers to go deep undercover, gather intel, record meetings, whatever I need. Agent Egg Salad reporting for duty," I joke, but honestly, I'm glad to have him on my side. Sure enough, things get weirder. Certified letters. Drones buzzing, my roof cameras blinking. A white SUV idling out front for an hour. I file a complaint with the county copy and the state attorney. I ask for every HOA document I can by law. Their lawyer writes back accusing me of abusing transparency mechanisms, which is lawyer speak for, oh hell, he knows the rules. And then a handwritten threat under my doormat, "Sell quietly and go. Otherwise, someone will make sure you're gone." Cute. That's when I install the cameras, 4 hidden streaming to the cloud, inside the birdhouse porch light mailbox and behind the blinds. Cody sends me photos from the next HOA meeting, my house circled in red on a giant map labeled a visual nuisance. I print that map out and tape it inside my door like a trophy. But I know what's coming next. I hire a lawyer. Enter Ava Morales. Sharp, fearless, mid-30s, already had a record of taking down abusive HOAs. This is either the dumbest overreach I've seen or the smartest scam. Either way, we're going to bury them. She files a cease and desist, a restraining order, attaches all our evidence, photos, audio, death threat, drone footage. And then Cody delivers the gold copies of their fake map. They literally photoshopped my lot onto a Google map, bad JPEG artifacts and all. Even Ava cracks up. The judge, however, isn't laughing. He signs the restraining order. Karen and the entire board are now banned from contacting me or coming within 100 feet of my property. It goes quiet again, but now it's the calm before a storm. So I lay a trap, a metal document case filled with fake transfer papers and bogus HOA letters visible from my window, just in case someone gets sticky fingers. Sure enough, things get messy. Karen hires outside negotiators. 2 goons, ex-military types, show up at my door offering a compromise. I tell them to leave. They don't, not politely. 2 nights later, they're back. This time they break down my door, knock me to the ground, rough me up, drag me outside. I'm thinking, this is it. These guys are going to make me disappear. And then out of nowhere, Cody and my neighbors storm the porch. Cody old Reuben with his war face on, even a barefoot neighbor with a shovel. The goons run for their lives. Cody clocks one in the throat like he's auditioning for Die Hard. They take off in the black SUV, leaving me battered, bleeding but alive. The whole thing caught on camera. Even better, my neighbor got the license plate and Cody recorded the audio. When I get home from the ER, Ava's already moving on the case. Turns out the thugs were paid directly by a shell company tied to Blue Dunes. And thanks to Cody's snooping, we've got bank records, email trails, the whole 9 yards. When police arrest the goons trying to leave the state, they find my dummy document case in the back seat still full of my fake papers. In custody, the goons fold like cheap lawn chairs. They finger Karen, show the texts, the whole plan. Karen, she skips town, runs to the Rockies, vanishes with the HOA's slush fund, but it's too late for her. Now it's a full-blown criminal investigation, conspiracy, assault, property fraud. The news picks up the story. Neighbors who once ignored me start showing up with food and apologies. The HOA holds a damage control meeting, but Cody live texts the whole thing. The board tries to say Karen went rogue, but the paper trail shows they all knew. Ava files a civil suit, not just for me, but for half a dozen neighbors who also got harassed or scammed. Then comes court. Not some TV drama, the room's cold, clinical, the AC set to meat locker. Ava presents the whole ugly story. Forged maps, illegal surveillance, physical assault, the works. Cody testifies, drops audio recordings of Karen plotting to take my house. The defense crumbles when Ava produces evidence. The HOA paid for Karen's hiding expenses through official accounts. The judge, no hesitation, restraining order stays. HOA barred from contacting me and referred for federal investigation under RICO laws. That's right, racketeering. The board members look like someone pulled the batteries out. It isn't a Hollywood ending, no marching band, no parade. Just a strange, heavy silence. Letters start pouring in, apologies, gratitude, even offers to buy movie rights. But the one that hits me comes from a widow whose husband was run out of a similar HOA. You fought back. He didn't. Thank you. That's the one I frame. The class action grows. Turns out I'm not the only one they targeted now. A dozen neighbors have joined the HOA as crumbling, board members resigning, insurance dropping them. One prospective buyer bails on a showing after hearing about the kidnapping house. Yeah, that's me. Cody stops by daily, brings beer roast, my camera setup keeps me sane. Then Ava gets invited to speak at a legal conference about HOA abuse, asks if I'll join her as a case study. I almost say no. I hate microphones, but I say yes. Not because I'm a hero, but because of folks like that widow, because I drew a line and it mattered. The night before Karen's arraignment, I throw a beach party for my neighbors, grill fire pit, old stories, new jokes. Ava's there, Cody's there, even Ruben brings his infamous vengeance meatballs, Karen. She's right where she belongs in custody, front page news. HOA queen arrested in mountain hideaway. Later that night, as the fire dies and the ocean breathes steady, Ava tells me they'll teach this case in law school. You ready for normal again, she asks. No, I say. I'm ready for better. She smiles, walks off into the dark. So here's my question. When is standing your ground stubborn? And when is it justice? Is private property still sacred in America? Or just another checkbox for a board with too much power and too little oversight? Drop your story below. Argue it out. Tell me your HOA horror stories. And hey, if you ever get a fake eviction notice, don't just roll over. Sometimes all it takes is one stubborn neighbor, a good lawyer, and a few cameras and birdhouses to remind the world that a line in the sand still means something.